Hello everyone. In today's class, we're going to see about the pollen grain structure and how the two cell stage have been formed along with three cell stage and pollen allergy, pollen viability, and the products what we get from the pollen grains along with the pollen preservation. And now we're going to see about the pollen grains. Okay, so in this slide we're going to see about the general description about the pollen grains. So we all know pollen grains are the male reproductive organ in angiosperm plants, and this pollen grain is known as the immature male gametophyte, and it is non-motile. So non-motile means it can't able to move from one place to another place, and it has haploid number of nucleus, and it has the spherical shape. So the shape of the pollen grains, it would be spherical in shape, and it has 25 to 50 micrometer in diameter. And in corn we can see the largest pollen grain structure, whereas in a plant called myosotis, this plant it holds the smallest pollen grains. That means the structure of the pollen grains in myosotis, it has very small in structure, right? So this is how the shape and the structure of the pollen grain would be in different species of plants, and each species have different kind of shape and different kind of structures. Okay, now let's discuss about the structure of pollen grain. That means how the architecture of the pollen grain would be. Okay, so actually this pollen grain, we know it has the spherical shape, and if you focus about the structure under the microscope, it shows like it has two layer, and that outer layer is known as the exine and the inner layer is known as intine. So x means out, okay, in means in, so like that you should remember this time. The outer layer is known as exine, and the inner layer of this pollen grain is known as intine. And apart from this, the outer layer, it has been enriched with a specific organic material called sporopollenin. Okay, what is that name? The material called sporopollenin, and this material is very important. Why? Because due to the presence of this sporopollenin in angiosperm pollen grain, this pollen grain, it can withstand against high temperature, strong acids and alkali, and no enzyme can degrade this pollen grain. So this is the significance of this sporopollenin, and this sporopollenin which is present in the exine and the inner layer of this pollen grain, it doesn't contain any sporopollenin. And along with that, the germ pores also present in the pollen grain, and that germ pore structure also doesn't contain any sporopollenin material. And we will be discuss about how the um, germ pore structure will be in case of pollen grains, right? This is how the structure of a pollen grain would be. Okay, so this pollen grain, as I told, it has two layered. The outer layer is known as exine, and in this picture the outer layer, it has been shown in green in color, and the intine, it has been shown in orange in color. The intine, that is the inner layer, it has been situated just beneath the exine, and just below to this intine, that is the inner layer, it as contains, that is this pollen grain contains a dense cytoplasm, and along with that it also contains two cells. The one is generative cell, it is situated at the anterior region, and the generative cell is the largest cell. And the second type of cell is known as the vegetative cell, and this vegetative cell is small in size. And apart from all those structure, it contains a special structure called germ pore. So this germ pore plays a vital role during the course of double fertilization. That means this germ pore, it going to form a structure called pollen tube. Through this pollen tube alone in angiosperm, the fertilization becomes possible. Is that clear? And now we're going to see about the germ pores in pollen grains. Okay, and we know in pollen grains it has a layer called exine layer, that is the outermost layer, and in this exine it has a small apertures called germ pores. Okay, and during the course of fertilization, this germ pores, it will form a special structure called pollen tube. Through this pollen tube alone, the male gamete from the pollen grains, it will go and find the egg, so that it fuses with that egg and the fertilization become possible. So that is the ultimate function of that pollen tube, and that pollen tube, it has been arised from the germ pores. Okay, and in germ pore there is no presence of sporopollenin. That means sporopollenin is absent in germ pore, and due to the presence of this sporopollenin alone, the pollen grains became preserved as the fossil one. for example, in order to understand this concept, let us take a small example. Okay, so now we are all having an habitat. Okay, in that habitat there are a plenty of plants, and now what is going to happen is suddenly that forest is going to subject for the forest fire. So that time all the plants initially was present in that habitat, it has been destructed due to the habitat destruction effect. And if a researcher go after 20 years or 25 years after the destruction of that particular habitat, that time also we can able to see the presence of pollen grain. Why? Because the pollen grains, it has a certain kind of ability to withstand with adverse conditions, so that it is preserved as a fossil due to the presence of sporopollenin. So that is the significance of sporopollenin. Clear? So now we're going to switch over into the formation of two cell stage. Okay, so we all studied that is a process called microsporogenesis. So due to that microsporogenesis, it will produce into four tetrad microspore, and among all those four tetrad microspore, each microspore have the tendency to become a two cell. That is, the bigger one is known as the vegetative cell and the smaller cell is known as the generative cell. So likewise we got four bigger vegetative cells and four small generative cells. Clear? And this process, that is the formation of two cell stage, that is the cell which contains the bigger cell, that is the vegetative cell, and the smaller cell, that is the generative cell, as it contains two things inside a single cell. This stage is called it as the two cell stage, and this two cell stage, it has been accomplished by mitotic division, that is the multiplication division. Okay, so now look into this picture. So initially I have taken the four tetrad microspore. Okay, and now that four tetrad microspore have the ability to form vegetative cell as well as the generative cell. Okay, so among that four tetrad microspore, just I'm going to zoom out only one microspore. So initially I have taken one microspore from four tetrad microspore, and it has uninucleate in condition, right? And now that cell, it will going to form two vacuole inside its cytoplasm, followed by it will undergo mitotic division, that is mitosis or multiplication division. So during the course of mitotic division, due to the presence of asymmetrical spindle fibers, it will result into two unequal sized cell, and the largest cell is known as, or the largest part of the cell is known as the vegetative cell, and the smaller cell is known as the generative cell. And this cell stage is called it as two cell stage. Why? Because there is the presence of two cell. The one is vegetative cell, which is present at the anterior region, and the next cell is known as the generative cell, which is situated at the posterior region. And the function of this vegetative cell is to store the food, that is, it is the food reservoir. So it is going to donate the food which is required for the developing male gamete. Is that clear? So now we're going to see about the formation of three cell stage. So in most of the angiosperm, that is in 60% of angiosperm plants, the two cell stage is sufficient to become the fertilization is possible. That means the pollen grains can shed at two cell stage, so that it will go infused with that egg and it will give rise into a process called fertilization. But the rest of the 40% of angiosperm plants, it will undergo one more mitotic division from the generative cell. Okay, so we know the generative cell itself contains a single cell stage. Okay, and that single cell, if it is undergo the mitotic division, that is the multiplication phase, due to that mitotic, it will give rise into two cells. So now collectively we have three cells. By means of mitotic division we got two cell, but at the initial also we have one generative cell. So now 2 plus 1 which is equal to 3. So this cell stage is called it as the 3 cell stage, and those angiosperm plants which is going to undergo a process called double fertilization. Double fertilization is the characteristic feature in angiosperm plant. It undergoes the formation of 3 cell stage, but 60% of 60% of angiosperm plant, it will stop its cell stage at 2 cell stage. That means the 2 cell stage is sufficient to become the fertilization is possible. Is that clear? So now let's discuss about the 3 cell stage in angiosperm. Okay, so initially I have taken the dehisced anther. By means of the dehiscence of an anther, we got a pollen grain. This pollen grain, it has exine and intern layer along with the germ pore. This germ pore, it will form a structure called pollen tube, and now this structure will form the two vacuole inside its cytoplasm, and it will undergo a division called mitosis, so that it will result into the 2 cell stage, in which it has one vegetative cell and the another one is generative cell. So in most of the angiosperm, that is about 60% of angiosperm, it will fertilized with this 2 cell stage alone. But in 40% of angiosperm, this 2 cell stage, it will undergo one more mitotic division, so that one generative cell, due to the presence of mitosis, that is the multiplication division, it will result into 2 generative cell. So now this 2 generative cell along with one tube nucleus, it has appeared as 3 cells inside the pollen tube, and this stage is called the 3 cell stage in angiosperm plants. Is that clear? And among this 3 cell, one male gamete, it will go and fused with the synergid, and another one will go and fused with the egg cell, and the third one will go and fused with the polar nuclei during the course of double fertilization. Clear? So let's discuss about the pollen allergy. Okay, so the pollen grains of angiosperm plant, it may cause some allergic reaction towards people. So one of such best example is Parthenium. So in Tamil we call it as Mukutipo. So this Parthenium, it is allergic to many people. So it causes some allergic reactions such as asthma. That means when people smell the pollen grains of this Parthenium flower, they might have experienced with asthma. That means difficulty in breathing along with that bronchitis, and the another pollen allergic reactions known as hay fever. That means in Tamil we can say as Vaikol Kaichal. Okay, so the pollen grains of that particular plant, it also cause the allergic reaction towards people, and the common name for this Parthenium in English is known as the carrot grass. Actually, this Parthenium, it is not the inland plant for India. That means it has been imported from European country while they import a wheat. So as they import a wheat, they would have been imported this Parthenium along with this wheat. Okay, so this is how this Parthenium, it has been cultivated in India. So let's discuss about the pollen grain as food. Okay, so as this pollen grain, it has been rich with nutrients, this pollen grain, it has been consumed by some athletes and race horses in order to increase their performance. But in some European country, they used to get a syrup and tablets by means of using this pollen grains also. Why? Because this pollen grain, it has been rich with certain kind of nutrients. Clear? So now we're going to focus about the pollen viability. So viability means the period of life. Okay, and this viability, it can differ each and every species. That means it is depend upon the temperature and humidity of an external environment. So in case of a plant such as wheat and rice, it can lose its viability within 30 minutes. But in case of a plant which is belongs to a family called Rosaceae, Leguminosae and Solanaceae, it maintain its viability for a month also. Okay, so the last thing we're going to focus about the pollen preservation. Okay, so this pollen preservation is similar to the storing of umbilical cord also. So how we people are storing the umbilical cord in order to face the scarcity for the stem cell in future. Likewise, we can store as particular species pollen grains if there is any scarcity in future, that time we can take this preserved pollen grain so that the fertilization become possible. So nowadays we people are storing our own human sperm also in order to make the fertilization possible, right? So in pollen preservation we have to collect the interest plant pollen grains, and we have to subject that pollen grains for several tests, and at last it will subject it into the minus 196 degrees celsius, and followed by it will stored in liquid and nitrogen, and then it will happily set inside the container. Okay, so this is how this pollen preservation have been done in experimental method. And the pollen grains, they do not lose their viability for years, so this is the ultimate job of this pollen preservation. And the another significance of this pollen preservation is we can use the preserved pollen grains while we do the crop breeding program. That means we can induce a new plant by artificially by means of using this pollen preservation. Yes, that's it guys.